So session 2 is going to be great with great panelists. This presentation will examine Forever 21's approach to conversion rate optimization, CRO, emphasizing the pivotal role of speed in driving success. You'll gain actionable insights on how to establish speed baselines, fortify server-side infrastructure, and optimize key pages for customer acquisition. I'm happy to welcome two people here, Arthur Root, who is the CEO and founder of Nostra, and we need to congratulate him because they just raised $19 million to continue speed optimization for websites. So congratulations to Arthur.
Hey, everyone.
Hey, everyone.
So Ryan, you want to give a quick intro? Maybe I'll give an intro after, and then Havana can say hi to the crowd.
Yeah, for sure. So I'm Ryan Hoffman. I'm VP of CRM and Channel Marketing at Forever 21, and I've been there about 2 years. I don't know that I need to give Forever 21 much of an intro, but I've been in e-commerce and retail for about 20 years now.
Fantastic. And as Vicky alluded to, I'm the founder and CEO of Nostra AI. So if you take nothing away from this, you can know that there's a cute puppy here and that Nostra makes e-commerce websites significantly faster. We've done this for anyone from Forever 21 down to, up and coming brands like Jones Road Beauty and Cozy Earth and the newer folks here. And then this is Havana. She's 4 months old. She's around the conference, so if you want to say hi afterward, she'll be around. So, Ryan, this is pretty special for me, right? When we first met, around a year ago?
About a year ago, yep.
You saw Nostra as a software that was, working in the Shopify ecosystem with some small brands. Why, you mind grabbing her? And it was a tool that was used by SMBs generally. And you kind of came to us and you said, hey, for Forever 21, this could make sense. And it was pretty special to me because as an entrepreneur, right, there are certain individuals in the ecosystem that really make a business and make a business go round. And you were one of those people who saw something in the software, in the technology, and then were able to help us port it to an enterprise use case. So why site speed? You're on the marketing
Yep.
team. What did you see? Why site speed? And how is that played out?
Yeah, so when I started at Forever 21 2 years ago, we brought in a new SEO agency, and we had them create a whole roadmap for us and check out the site and give us all the recommendations and a whole roadmap of the things that we needed to do to improve our site and SEO rankings and everything else. And as a channel marketer, SEO is one of my primary and most important channels. And so as they laid out that roadmap, a lot of it was focused on Core Web Vitals, right? 4 years ago, Google came out and said Core Web Vitals is going to be an important part of how you rank in our algorithms and how you get your site indexed and get traffic to your website for free from Google, which is everyone knows we like free traffic. Who else out there has had problems with Core Web Vitals? Anyone got everyone? Okay, good. Not alone. Right, like pretty much every one of our Core Web Vitals was like fail across the board, fail, right? Like all of our metrics were terrible, and the problem with that was I don't have an internal development team focused on SEO, right? They have like 1 million projects, and the backlog for our development team is like, again, it's like 100 deep, and for them to focus on SEO means that they're taking priorities away from other things. So we knew it was a problem. We knew our site speed was terrible, right? Like slow sites suck. The customer's not having a really great experience. And again, we know we're getting basically penalized by Google for not having really good Core Web Vitals. So the problem with that, again, like I don't have a dev team that can tackle it. I know I need to tackle it. Like how do I make this, like how do I connect those two things and how I actually fix this as a leader? And so again, when I got introduced to Nostra about a year ago, I saw it and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is gonna fix this is gonna fix a lot of our problems. And the great thing about it is you could actually see, some of their clients that Arthur mentioned, right? Just you could see the technology with it turned on, and you could see the technology with it turned off, and the experience and the site speed and what Page Speed Insights was saying about their metrics and everything else. And so it was kind of like, it was just one of those things, like you saw the proof with your own eyes and you're like, this really can actually make an impressive impact. So for me, that's where, again, when we first talked, I'm like, hey, I'm not on Shopify, right? I'm on Commerce Cloud. So what can we do to make this work together? And luckily, and thankfully, the Nostra team basically built out the integration for us with Demandware, Commerce Cloud, whatever you want to call it, and then we were able to launch and get things moving forward.
That's awesome. And so what else did you try before Nostra? I'm sure site speed was a problem for a long time. Obviously, we came in and we played a big role in that, but what else were you doing?
So again, there were, if you go into Page Speed Insights and just throw in your URLs, it'll tell you what's wrong with your website. Or it'll be like, hey, you need to minify this JavaScript, and you need to compress these things. You need to, it'll give you the recommendations, right? Google will tell you, here's what you can do to be better. And so we had prioritized some of those things, and again, we'd gotten kind of ticky-tacky, one thing here, one thing there in a release, but nothing substantive. That was the problem, is we couldn't make really big impact quickly enough compared to the laundry list of things that Google was saying, here are all of the things you need to go fix them, and we couldn't get to all of them.
And so when we worked together, we had both ups and downs. Maybe walk through the journey of working with Nostra when we didn't have an integration, and then what went wrong and what went right, and kind of how did Forever 21 deal with that, and how did the Nostra team deal with that as well? Yeah.
So as we worked through, again, this time last year, right, when you introduce a new development project, even though the Nostra team was handling most of it, there's still some development work that our team had to do. So anytime you introduce that in June timeframe, and you're thinking about Q4 is literally just a couple of months away, I had to work through a lot of things internally, get priority, get our tech team on board, get prioritization from executives and buy-in that this was really going to do what I thought it could do for our company. We worked through how many people out there do code freeze? Does everyone do a code freeze in Q4? Worst thing ever, never do a code freeze. I hate code freeze, but we have code freeze, and I'm sure everyone else does too. So we had code freeze coming up, and it was in October, and I was like, okay, we got to get this in. We're going to squeeze it in right before code freeze. And we launched it, our last release before code freeze, and wouldn't you know it, I didn't have buy-in from everyone that needed to be bought in. So our e-commerce team and our merchandising teams weren't comfortable with it. They were like, okay, how's this going to work with pricing? How's it going to work with inventory? Things are going to be cached, and they weren't comfortable with doing it in Q4. So I was a little bit heartbroken because I was like, I got it this. I wanted to get it in right before Q4. So we had to turn it off for Q4. So it's kind of one of those learning moments as a leader, okay, we needed to get everyone much more familiar with this, much more involved with it, much more buy-in across the organization about how it's going to work, how it's going to change their processes potentially, who's going to own different parts of working with Nostra. So we worked through that through Q4, and then we got out of code freeze 3 months later, which is just terrible. But 3 months later, we emerged from code freeze, and we launched. And wouldn't you know it, everything that broke on the website after the Nostra launch was Nostra's fault. It was like, oh my gosh, this thing broke. It must be Nostra. Another thing breaks. It's got to be Nostra. Turn it off. Turn it. Yeah, and we went through, and Arthur's team was just amazing. They weren't responsible for literally any of the things that broke right after we launched, but their team still dug in and tried to help us figure out no, it's not us, but it's this thing over here. It was just an amazing partnership, just in terms of trying to make sure that we could be successful, and that everyone from our IT organization to our e-commerce organization felt comfortable. No, it's not Nostra that's breaking the site or making this other thing do this weird behavior, right? It was another month of just back and forth, turning it on, turning it off, turning it on, turning it off, and but then finally I just told everyone listen, we know it's not Nostra anymore. Stop it, shut up, and we're just going to keep it on from now on, and we've had it on solidly since February, and again, like the results are pretty astounding. If you just look at the site speed, our site speed, our core vitals metrics, and the trends that we're seeing with Google, with page indexing, it's pretty phenomenal.
Yep. In show of hands, how many people are familiar with content delivery networks?
Just a couple.
A couple. Ryan, you want to maybe give an overview of what a CDN is?
Yeah, I mean, CDN, it's how content basically shows up on your browser, right? Like, so when you go to a website, it's being served by generally a content delivery network, a CDN. And the whole point of Nostra is the closer you physically actually deliver that content, the faster it's going to be for that individual user, right? So if someone lives in California, you can serve them in from servers in California, it will be faster for them than if they're in New York getting content from California. So it's geo-distributed, so it's as close to the end user, pulling that experience as possible. And then the site caching part of it too, just again, like it's incredible how much faster the website really is.
Yeah. So what we realized at Nostra was a traditional content delivery network is only going to be able to be used for static assets. So like your images, your color schemes, the things that are the same for each person. But in e-commerce, what we realized is, hey, there are all these dynamic elements of a web page. So whether that's a cart, whether that's a reviews widget, whether that's personalization, all of that's going to be different. And so thus, people weren't able to put that out onto a content delivery network. What we did at Nostra is we used AI to essentially figure out what elements of the page down to the pixel level can get out to a content delivery network and be served from the server that's closest to the individual. And when we were able to do that, what we'll see in a little bit is that the results are, in Forever 21's case, a 50+% faster website without barely any engineering effort.
Yep.
So when you got to launching Nostra, well, first of all, thank you for finally telling the engineering team to, hey, it's not our fault.
It's not Nostra's fault anymore.
So you got live. How did that affect kind of your marketing plan, and what did you do differently once you had a faster website?
I mean, in reality, like we've only been live for, at this point, a couple months, solidly and consistently, right? And so again, when you look at the results, and if we want to go to some of the different pages, but for us, I don't know if anyone else having struggles with SEO and Google and having them drive you that free traffic like they used to, right? Like for us, I'm having to spend more money to get more traffic to our website because Google just isn't sending as much of the free traffic as they were. It's kind of a bait and switch if you ask me. But again, the whole point is like when someone comes to the website and it's like this much faster, right? Like you go from 1.27 seconds to 53 milliseconds. That's orders of magnitude better, right? The performance, the people on the site, they can get to more pages on your website, right? So you're going to get many more page views. You're going to get them deeper in the site because they're not sitting there waiting after they clicked for the page to finally load on their phone. So, I mean, just again, like if you just look at that metric alone, you'd be like, wow, like that's massive.
Yeah. So the metric that we're looking at on the top right here is the connection between the server and the browser. So before Nostra, it would take 1.2 seconds for the server and the browser to connect so that the website could even begin loading in. After Nostra, that time got down to 53 milliseconds, which resulted in a overall page load time that was 53% faster.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at, three total seconds to for a page to load versus now it's under a second and a half. I mean, that's just, again, like a 50% reduction in load time is just a massive improvement. So, and this is one of the success metrics. If you go to the next one, you'll see the core vitals are going green, right? Like it's never just like black and white, like, hey, here's your score. But this is massive improvements, right? If you look at where we've been since January into February, March, like every single one is just improving up into the right each month. And so it's incredible to see this kind of trend and this kind of an impact. And again, this is last year when I saw it and I saw what it could do. I'm like, oh my gosh, it's totally gonna be able to do this, improve my core vitals. And sure enough, right? Like it's absolutely doing what I knew it would. And again, thanks to Arthur and team for actually building out what I needed to for the Commerce Cloud integration.
And so we started the conversation on SEO, right?
Yep.
The next slide we're going to look at is 59% more visits from Googlebot. What does that mean to you, when it comes to indexing and getting more traffic?
Yeah, I mean, this is massive. I mean, anyone who knows anything about SEO, right? Like there's this concept of crawl budget, right? Like Google's only going to spend so much time crawling your site, and if each page takes 3 seconds or longer to load, and you cut that time in half, they can index twice as much of your site. So this has been a massive improvement. So the metric that you're looking at here is pages that Google has actually indexed and is now also driving organic traffic to. So it's not just, hey, the page index, this is like actual materially impacting visits to the site. So again, from my perspective, as being driving traffic is like my KPI at the company. This is a massive improvement for us, and can't wait to see what this does. Just again, we're at this point, 3 months in, if you will. Can't wait to see what this metric continues to do, 5, 6, 12 months out from here.
Yeah. So, some more stats here. I think clearly, if you take one thing away here, Nostra can make almost any website faster. And we put our money where our mouth is. If we can't make your website faster, I think we end up actually paying you. So what's next?
They're not going to pay you, trust me.
Yeah, we've never paid anyone, but you come find me if we don't. So what's next, right? Site speed, obviously, it's always a work in progress. Are you going to spend more and more resources on site speed? Are you going to focus elsewhere? Are there other tools in the ecosystem, things that are going well that you want to double down on, things that aren't going well that you really need to find a solution for?
Yeah, I mean, so everyone else in here doing conversion rate optimization, like a big part of what they're trying to get done. When I think about this again, like when you think about priorities, and that's like one of the big things that I try to make sure that my teams focus on is like, what are your priorities, right? What's going to make the biggest impact that you can get done, right? Things that you can affect, and when it comes to conversion rate optimization overall, right? Like you could do A/B testing, right? But like how much, like what's the percentage increase you're going to get from A/B testing the site, right? Are you going to get minor increases? Are you happy with like 1 or 2% improvements? Great, like all those add up. But for me, it's like I'm looking for massive gains in efficiencies and improvements, like what we've seen here on the site speed side of things. But we recently integrated with another company called Session AI. I'm sure they're here at the event. That Session AI we integrated them recently. Just great company. They're also doing some amazing things for us when it comes to finding, delivering the right offer and messaging to the customer while they're in their path to purchase. So really excited about what they've been able to prove for us as well. We're also doing some amazing things with generative AI in our paid media teams to drive better traffic and efficiency there with our media agency. I mean, those are for me, those are some of the most kind of heaviest hitting things on the conversion rate side of things, and again, just overall efficiency side of things that I'm pretty excited about.
And what are you doing with Session AI and generative AI? What's going on there that's causing you to be so excited? Yeah,
I mean, so with Session AI, they're actually identifying certain parts of certain segments, if you will, of our site traffic, and then delivering them either the right offer or no offer. Again, like there's a lot of different treatments that they'll be able to deliver just based on how they're evaluating whether someone's going to buy from us, if they need an offer to get them over that conversion hump, if you will, or if an offer will help them increase their AOV from where they're at. So we're doing a lot of cool things with them from that perspective. On the generative AI side of things, again, there's a lot of things around targeting, and my background has been for most of my career in kind of the MarTech side of things and audience targeting, but with our media agency. Media Monks, we're doing this really cool pilot with them where on the creative side, we're taking like a singular creative asset, right? It might be a model in a pink dress, and on a white background, and we're superimposing backgrounds onto that image that put her into a myriad of situations, right? So we take one static asset, and now we can scale that up to hundreds or thousands of different scenarios. Maybe she's at the beach, maybe she's walking down the street, maybe she's at a nightclub, maybe she's wherever, right? Shopping in the grocery store, whatever it might be. So it's really just doing that, and then along with that, we've got generative text that's related to the background image that we've superimposed her onto. And we're getting massive increases in click-through rate and ROAS from that, like triple-digit increases. So wow. It's pretty amazing where we can just, our creative team can be that much more efficient, where they're like, hey, here's this one asset, and now we've got 500 variations of that, and we're going to throw it into Meta or whatever other social platform, and see just massive lift in click-through, so traffic to the site, right? My KPI, and ROAS efficiency, which is again massive, a big KPI for me too.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Ryan. If you take one thing away, Nostra can make websites faster. If you want to learn more, if you want to just hang out with a puppy, we're at booth 164, or feel free to scan that QR code and it'll take you right to our site. But big thank you to Ryan. And again, as I said at the beginning, it means so much that, number one, you believed in us early on. And just as an entrepreneur, you need people like that in the ecosystem. And then number two, for speaking up here and all the excellent work that you've done together.
My pleasure. Everyone needs a good partner, right? Good partners are hard to find sometimes, and when you don't have a big development team, you got to rely on someone else to be that development team for you. So thanks for letting your development team be our development team. Much appreciated.
All right. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.